Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another session of Straight Talk in Room 503. I'm your host, Merriweather, the author of Enough is Enough, and we're bringing another session of what's going on in public education. I'm so glad that you could come to class and join us this week. Ladies and gentlemen, as I normally do, I start out by talking about what's going on in my hometown, because the same thing that's going on in my hometown, I'm pretty sure is going on in your hometown. Perhaps you hadn't waken up yet. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what's going on. We had several schools closed down in my community. It was supposed to make and provide for more resources to help the students. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. It's not how much resource you got. It's how many teachers you got that want to teach all students and are capable and willing and want to teach all students. Ladies and gentlemen, something is wrong when we try to make it into a color thing. Ladies and gentlemen, it's way out of control. I don't care whether you're black or white. You either want to teach or you don't want to teach. You're either smart or you don't. You made some bad choices and you already made some good choices. Listen, ladies and gentlemen. The Board of Education allowed the superintendent in our hometown to go out in the north section where most whites live, in the north and in the western area. Why would you go and remove early college high schools that's supposed to help students to be able to get credits and go on to college? Why would you go out and take it away from a capable administrator, African-American, North Side, by the name of Mr. Bridgman, and then take it and give it to a Caucasian gentleman in the heart of the black community? They close a school right within 150 feet and spend $1 million renovating an old shop class or building and place a Caucasian over it, hired 10 teachers, hired 8 whites, 2 blacks. And ladies and gentlemen, as a gentleman, a friend of mine, went over to check and see what was going on. And he said he walked around and looked into all of the classes, and according to him, if it's a lie, the preacher told me a lie. He said that they was all out of control. And I said, well, $1 million being spent, 8 white teachers, 2 blacks, and they're all out of control. Of that 125, 110 are African American. The whites are not coming. They told them that before they spent the $1 million. They showed them that they wouldn't go to a school in the northern area. They was going to private schools. But yet, they said, well, some of our sons and daughters and nieces and nephews need jobs, so let's just spend $1 million of the taxpayers' money. They're not going to send it. The black community very seldom complains. And the white community, they don't really care. You know, they'll pay taxes and pay the tuitions to go to private school, and everybody's happy. So don't worry about it. Let's just try it. If it don't work out, we can always close it, because we closed one of the schools, and the black community never did really holler out until they found out we was really closing. Then they had signs out, save our schools, save our schools. And I said, we don't want to save the school. The building is going to save itself. Modern brick is not going to fall down. We need to save our children. But of course, nobody asked me, because I'm straight talking room 503. But ladies and gentlemen, the students was telling the Caucasian teacher, man, we ain't interested in this. And then I said, well, Reverend, what happened? He said, well, finally one of the students says, we don't want to hear this shit. And this is the type of language that's going on. That was somebody's son. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not holding parents accountable. We're not holding the good old boys accountable, and neither are we holding the parents. We got ourselves a mess in public education. That's why students are getting up and going on to private schools, and we know that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a sad day. Let me show you something here. Where is this document here? This is a white male raping a white female, a Stanford student. And due to his background, he only gets 6 months for raping a student. Listen, in Bolden County, We have a 22-year-old student attending the University of Colorado. He is a prestige student. And so he gets he should have gotten 4 to 12 to life. He gets 2 years because of who his parents are. And he gets 2 years in jail. And the Judge Patrick, gives him 2 years and allow him during the day to go to school, go to work, and return to jail at night and do that for 2 years while his education continues. Sound like to me a sleepover jail. While we in the black community continue to allow them to build more prison. In my hometown, they're spending $30 million to build on to a prison to house our African American males because we make up more population than any other nationality. But we can't get them to spend money to hire the appropriate teachers, hire the appropriate superintendent, hire elect appropriate board members that all kids can learn. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't get it. I don't get why the upper class white doesn't care but a little bit more about poor whites and less about poor blacks. It appears to me that in place of the poor whites thinking we're better than the poor blacks, it would seem to me that the poor whites and the poor blacks would come together and unite because there's power in numbers. But as long as one nationality feels that they are superior to the other one, then we all going to catch hell. The amazing thing is that I can't understand that when we get to heaven, there won't be a white heaven and a black heaven. There will be a black hell because it's going to be hot and smoky down there. And so it will be a black hell down there while people burning to death for the rest of their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, it just really blows my mind that the community is quiet. The religious community is real quiet. We only hear of them on Sunday in Bible class and prayer meeting. I had some politician I used to carry around as president of the Voters Council to various churches. And I would ask them, be sure to come back, not just during election year. Everyone on lied. Everyone I carried in there never came back. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a sad day. So I got out of the Voters Council because I wasn't going to be pimped by no one in the white community, black community, no community. I'm not a pimp, and I don't believe in pimping people. That's wrong. But we are allowing our ministers, our sororities, fraternities, young ladies, young men, to be pimps on the street for a little nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just telling you, it's a sad day in our communities, and we got to do something about it. If I'm not telling you the truth, ladies and gentlemen, what I bring to you each week is the raw truth. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. I'm like Hillary Clinton. Deal me in because I'm not going to do nothing but keep telling you the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to have a relationship with the students. During my tenure as administrator, if my teachers didn't have a relationship with the students, they couldn't work for me. When they came in, my interview, and you can ask them whoever worked at my school, it was a different kind of interview. I wanted to know if you had common sense. Where's your heart? Do you see all people as important? Not just your nationality, but everybody was important. The parents had to participate with me, had to work with me. And I see them every day thanking the school and the staff for what they're doing. And I say, all praises go to God. I didn't do anything for no glory to myself. But ladies and gentlemen, we had 0 fights from 1985 to 2006. Now, the administrator can say that. We had 99.5% in an alternative school. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Parents Teachers Conference, 99.5. You had to come because you didn't come. You take your child with you. We're here for business. No one published it in the paper or nothing. I'm not looking for any glory. I'm looking for a crown in glory. Ladies and gentlemen, we had 0 fights. No drugs on the campus. Now, an administrator in the system can match the record. And I'm not boasting and bragging about Merriweather. I'm boasting and bragging about what my God can do. He's an awesome God. And ladies and gentlemen, I prayed every day. And that I believe I will give that credit to God. I just believe that's why, because we open with prayer, and on Friday evening we close in prayer. The hoop with the Constitution of the United States. Donald Trump is taking it and making it weave about and doing what they want to, and he get millions of people show up at his rally. So why can't Merriweather pray with his students? And I've had several students, more students came to God and gave their lives to Christ during my administration than any administrator in the system. And I don't think they want to argue that with me. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this, and we're going to get out of here. This is coming from Buffalo, New York. The gentleman by the name of the Arthur Dunkins. Dunkins is a felon, but he is also an attorney. This blew my mind. He grew up in Los Angeles, California. While living on the West Coast, he was thrust into gang violence. The home life wasn't good, as his mother and her boyfriend was into drugs, and drug dealing was threatening to kill the family because of debts that was owed. A friend he grew up with was also selling drugs. Evidently, Duncan started selling drugs, and he was arrested and went to federal prison. He attended and earned a law degree at the age of 43 from the University of Buffalo. Ladies and gentlemen, I read that to you because it doesn't matter. White America knows that there is power in knowledge. That is why in slavery, did not want the slaves to read, because knowledge is power. And as long as minority students are not getting an education, they'll remain at the bottom. When you allow them to have knowledge, they will become presidents of the United States, congressmen and senators, Fortune 500 owners. Their women will want to marry a man of knowledge. They know that. They know it. And as long as they can keep Bubba selling drugs, throwing him down on the asphalt, filling him up with hoes, putting him in prison, letting him rot, then a whole race of people will stay wandering in the desert. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a sad commentary that those in this community and your community sit back and allow the politician that you elected to hold you down and employ the others. Even in my hometown, in the courthouse, when they hire and elect someone, they will turn around and hire their daughter. In the last election, a lady retired and her daughter worked in the office, and she willed her job to her daughter. And it was officiated and corroborated and confirmed, because voters went to the poll and say, if Miss So-and-so says her daughter can do the job and she's been working on it, let's put her in there. But then that's when it comes down to a minority trying to get into a public office. There's so much scrutiny going on. I tell you what, you think that the FBI is doing an investigation. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been asleep too long. But I'm going to continue to tell you the unadulterated truth. A teacher should take a hand, open a mind, and touch a heart. Let me read you this and we're out of here. Mindset is the key to being a teacher, especially when dealing with troubled youth. It's how the teacher feels about herself, number one, and about the students. Listen to this here. A letter to a student I didn't get along with last year, who I'm going to have again. So now this is a teacher who didn't get along with a student the previous year, and the student is coming back in his class again, and this is what he wrote to the student. Please listen, and I'll try to slow it down and make sure you understand what I'm saying. I want to say that I'm sorry about the way many things turned out for both of us last year. I'm sorry there were so many times we disagreed and ended up on the opposite side of the conflict. It's certainly not the kind of experience I hoped for when I decided to become a teacher many, many years ago. And I'm certainly not the way that you like your life at school to be either. I'm hoping that we can find a way to make this year much better for the both of us. I can't promise you that I will always agree with everything that you might say or do this year, but I can promise you to accept whatever you might think, feel, say, or do is understandable given what your life experiences have been. Put other students through what you've been through and probably end up thinking, feeling, or saying, or doing much of the same, and maybe a lot worse. For all we know, you may be doing much better than others would have. I also believe what I think, say, and do, and understand in giving you my life experiences. Unfortunately, sometimes we may bump heads because of our experiences. I hope we can keep those times to a minimum, or at least handle the times when we bump heads better than last year. I believe that there always a part of every student that just want nothing more than to have the same kind of life they see others around them have. But too many children get off to a rough start through no fault of their own, can never quite figure out how to get there. I want to help you get there. And if you let me, I will do everything I can to help you. I cannot control what everyone else in this building thinks, feels, say, or do. I only control what I do. I'm going to do my best to have that to be positive, constructive with you as I can, regardless of what you might do. I would like nothing more than to see you be successful and to play a role in your success. I hope you'll let me. I'd rather be someone you remember with gratitude instead of contempt. This is coming from this young man's teacher. Ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine if you had a teacher who had that much, I'm wrong and I may need to look at this differently? What if all teachers would do what a system we would have? Ladies and gentlemen, may God help the teachers that reaches out to the students, help them to find their way and never give up on no child. There is so much that a teacher can learn from a student and a student from a teacher. Ladies and gentlemen, deal me in, because I'm not willing to get away from this card game. I'm going to continue to talk about public education. We got to do something different. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time that people do what's right. Because if you plan on going to heaven, you can't mistreat people and get to heaven. You have to have a relationship. Most of all, I'm looking for teachers who have a relationship, number one, with God. If you have a relationship with God, you'll treat my child right. If you don't have a relationship with God, you're not going to treat nobody's child right. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say this. More people do to you, more God would do for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a witness. I can tell you this. From being a member in the first 10 that went to integrated school, the more those white students did to me, the more God blessed me. The coach who allowed those students to jump on me in gym, he's gone on to the great beyond, died of a horrible death of cancer. His daughter that's turned out to be a whore. I'm just putting it plain because I'm straight talk. Ladies and gentlemen, and the principal who didn't want to treat me right, he's also gone on and he got arrested. Him and his wife couldn't make it. Ladies and gentlemen, the battle is not mine, it's the Lord. So if you want to treat me bad, that's fine. You want to talk about me, that's fine. God has said in his word that he'll make my enemies my footstool. Listen to this. He prepares the table before me in the presence of my enemies. He anoints my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome my enemy. Bring it on. Come on. I can't get my blessing till you're sitting at the table. So, ladies and gentlemen, he's telling you he preparing the table before you in the presence of your enemies. He preparing the table. He's showing you what he can do with his blessings. Ladies and gentlemen, it's late in the evening. Churches have got to get busy. The community has got to get busy. We can build all of the family life centers we want to have. Most of them we build, only the members of that church can come and participate. They're not open to the community. We're not even going into the community trying our best to bring more people to God. We just drive ourselves to church, open our Bibles, sing in the choir, preach, then we go home, and Monday through Saturday, it's the same old thing. People are dying in the street. Just in my hometown this week, Officer Frazier with the TBI was shot by a drug deal gone bad, trying to make the community safe. And then Tuesday there'll be a funeral, wife without a husband, children without a father, trying to come in the community to do something. Ladies and gentlemen, and then most of the people in the community won't even pause for a few moments to lift the family up in prayer. We living in treacherous times, sad times. Ladies and gentlemen, clock on the wall says it's time for me to get out of here, and I got to get out of here. I've enjoyed talking to you. I'll see you again next week, and I'll bring you the unadulterated truth. You're welcome to disagree with anything that I say. Let me know about it. I don't expect you to agree with everything, but you ought to agree that every child deserves a quality education. You ought to feel me on that one. You ought to deal me in, Mr. Merriweather. I'm with you on that. But the community is quiet. But anyway, only what you do for Christ will last. I'm going to use the talents that I have for the benefit of the mass. I'm looking for my crown. I hope you get one. But you're going to have to do better than you're doing now, because you're not saying anything what's going on. And our kids are not learning. That's black kids and white kids. They're poor kids. They're not learning. And we continue to make sure that certain segments of our community fare well while others are deteriorating. Ladies and gentlemen, shame on you. But again, take care. If you hadn't had a chance to get a copy of my book, www.morrismerriweather.com, or you can contact me and I'll make sure that I can get you one. I have just reduced the price of the book, and it's down to $10. And in the event that you don't feel that you want to buy the book, you don't want to hear the show each week, that's your prerogative. But let me tell you this, I still love you, and God loves you too. I hope you get serious about public education. Till next week, take care of yourself, and we'll see you.